Sangye Ruvara Shu Sangye Chöda Soge Chonamla Chanju Bardo Tane Nage Jin Soge Da Sonange Dola Tenge Sangye Ruvara Shu. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulations, practice of giving, so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulations of practice of giving, so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulations of practice of giving, so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes taught by the Tathagata, the session causes as well as taught by the great seer. Okay. Okay, we are on, which page is that? 119. Or your page 119. So the debate between the two groups, the advocates of objective existence and the advocates of emptiness of objective existence. And the background that we need to know is that the advocates of objective existence, who accepts objective existence, who are they? Vaibhashika and Sautrantika school, and of course Chittamatra and other schools, but then here primarily Vaibhashika and Sautrantika. So the advocates of objective existence, when they say existence, for them existence equals objective existence. So the problem is when they accept existence, they accept objective existence. If somebody rejects objective existence, they see them as rejecting existence. Okay. So when the Nagarjuna said that nothing exists objectively, in the ears is like Nagarjuna saying that nothing exists at all, which means ceasing and arising, they don't exist. Look, ceasing and arising is extremely important phenomena. In fact, in your life, every morning you get up, which means the new self meaning a self, which is one day older. Right? You agree? One day older with respect to the self which was yesterday. So that arises, and one day older self ceases. No, one day younger self ceases, and one day older self arises, ceasing and rising, ceasing and rising. This is what governs the whole universe. Your life, your community, and then on the global level, family level, everywhere. And this is what happens. So, and in the verse, I think page 4, again from page 4 in his book, The Blaze. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising. Again, look, no ceasing, arising. You're getting it? And then the Buddha, in the sutras, you find the very oftentimes mentioning about the ceasing and arising. Okay, so this is so important. It's not just randomly, ceasing and arising. These two are just activities. It's not just random pickup. These are two things which govern the whole universe. Your activities, your life, your happiness, your sadness, and your career, shattering the career, starting startups, and then, and entering into the illusion of what? What's up, Facebook, Reel, and so forth, and coming out disillusioned. Wow, I'm tired of this. This is so deceptive, right? All these things fall under the category of arising, ceasing, arising, ceasing. So when the arising, ceasing is missing, cause and effect is missing. When the cause and effect is missing, the first level of dependent origination is missing. First level of dependent origination marks the 12 links of dependent origination. How the whole universe, how the beings take birth in samsara, and how the beings come out of samsara. The Four Noble Truths, you can account for all these if you cannot account for the ceasing and arising of phenomena. So, in our years of Vaibhashikans of Tantrika, when Nagarjuna said nothing truly exists, nothing exists objectively, for them nothing exists, which means no arising and ceasing. If no arising and ceasing, then no cause and effect. If no cause and effect, then no Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths is on the basis of the two sets of cause and effect. Two sets of cause and effect. What's the first set of cause and effect? Hey. Four Noble Truths, it is constituted of two sets of cause and effect. Cause, effect, two sets meaning cause, effect. How many are there? Four. These are the Four Noble Truths. You're getting it? These Four Noble Truths are nothing but constituted of two sets of cause and effect. So what is the first set of cause and effect in the context of Four Noble Truths?
The second noble truth is the cause, first noble truth is the effect.
Yes. So the first truth of the truth of suffering is the result, and the second one, truth of the cause of suffering, is the cause and effect. So first and second, these two are related to samsara. You're getting it? Suffering is samsara, and cause of suffering is also samsara. So the first two noble truths are related to samsara. Then number 3 and number 4. What is number 3? Okay. The second set of cause and effect. Anyone? Raise hands. Second set of cause and effect in the context of Four Noble Truths. Kamasujala?
The truth of that leading to cessation is the cause. And
Truth of the cessation is the result. Okay. So what Kamasujala is saying is that the second set of cause and effect is related to nirvana, or related to liberation from samsara, liberation. Truth number 3, noble truth number 3, which is the truth of cessation suffering, that is the result. And the number 4, truth of cause of suffering, that is the cause and effect. Okay, but a technical clarification is required here. Technical meaning that we have to know, what precisely is the case. We have to know, while we know the main concept, we also should know the technicalities. And these technicalities, at times, you may feel that, there are so many nuances, I cannot know this. In a way, we are very fortunate. We are all learning these nuances within such a short span of time. Say, what is the truth number 3 of the Four Noble Truths? Truth of cessation suffering. Truth of cessation suffering. Truth of cessation suffering means truth of absence of suffering. Cessation means ceased, stop, absence. Absence suffering. Absence suffering is permanent or impermanent? Permanent, impermanent. It's impermanent, raise hands. It's impermanent. Truth of cessation suffering is impermanent, raise hands. Truth of cessation suffering is permanent, raise hands. Oh, you good. And those of us who are new, you may be confused. How is permanent? And everybody's so confident, right? How is permanent? Okay, anybody who likes to explain how it is permanent? Raise hands. Okay, those of us, I'm asking this question not for me. I'm asking this question on behalf of the newcomers. You're getting it? So newcomers, you should pay attention. Okay, now he's asking this question. It's not for us, it's for the people. For you, I'm asking this question to others. Anybody who likes to explain, how is the truth of cessation of suffering permanent? Absence of suffering permanent, tell me. Anyone? Raise hands. How many hands? One hand here, one hand here, yes.
Okay, there's a concept I talked about earlier that I don't remember, but if you can negate negative emotions and not positive ones, and so we can negate suffering.
We negate suffering. Negation of suffering, is that permanent or impermanent? How?
Because why would we want suffering? Does that make sense?
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Because there's the other concept. Do those connect?
Say, for example, let's say the suffering itself. Is it permanent or impermanent?
Suffering itself is impermanent.
It's not permanent.
No.
Because why do we want it?
Why?
You said it. Well, it is permanent because why do you want suffering? I'm saying the same thing to you. It should be permanent because why do you want suffering?
You don't want suffering.
I don't want suffering.
And I don't want suffering.
So therefore, suffering is not permanent.
And none of us want suffering for anyone.
So therefore, if you don't want it, so therefore it should be permanent, then suffering should be permanent.
I want to agree, but I totally lost you.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyone else? More hands? I'm looking for more hands. Okay, here.
It is nirvana.
Oh?
It is nirvana, the truth of cessation of suffering is.
If it is nirvana, why should it be permanent?
That is permanent.
Why should that be permanent? Or you will be better?
Because we have eradicated.
We
We have eradicated the cause of suffering, so there are no causes and conditions that can create that.
So the mind which attained the cessation, is that permanent?
No.
Because it's forever like this. It should be permanent.
It has eradicated the cause of suffering.
If it's a cause of suffering, so why should that be permanent?
Because it cannot occur again. The causes and conditions cannot be created. So it's the dependent right.
No, the cessation of suffering,
Yeah.
is that permanent, impermanent?
Permanent.
Why?
Because it's the absence of.
Why, if something is absent, it should be permanent?
Because it cannot come into existence again.
Yes. Is that right? I think that's.
Because the suffering is advantageous.
Suffering is adventitious. Yes. So what?
So it can be removed.
Say it can be removed, yes. But the absence of suffering, is that permanent?
Yes.
Why?
Because once, like you said, the causes for that suffering are removed, the suffering is removed.
Then the pure mind, is that permanent?
Yes.
Pure mind is also permanent.
That's permanent. The pure mind? No. The pure mind isn't permanent.
Pure mind, once the cause of the suffering is removed, the pure mind forever remains.
Pure mind lasts forever.
Lasts forever. Once the cause of suffering is removed, then the pure mind remains forever. It should be permanent.
No.
Huh? Why not?
There's a distinction. It's eternal. The continuum is there, but it's not
No.
permanent.
I'm not giving my reasons. I'm simply using your reason to prove that even the pure mind should be permanent. What he said is that the cessation suffering is permanent because the cause of the suffering is removed, then the cessation suffering is forever. So likewise, once the cause of suffering is removed, then the pure mind is forever. So even the pure mind should be also permanent. Okay, the gentleman behind Nicola. Your name?
Yaniv. Yaniv.
Yelif, yes.
If I remember right, then we said that permanent things are things that are not conditioned by time, like by time parts and material. And cessation of suffering is not conditioned by both of them. Because
Is it not conditioned by the time?
no,
Because it lasts forever. Lasts forever is time.
but it's not conditioned. Like,
Why not?
mm,
Okay. Piadi, you want to say?
Okay, I'll try to what I think. So the truth of cessation of suffering is negating suffering, which is emptiness, and emptiness is not composite, which means that it's permanent.
Cessation of suffering is to be understood in the context of emptiness,
Yes.
and emptiness is a non-composite phenomena. Therefore, it cannot be.
Impermanent.
Because it is not impermanent, it should be permanent. That's interesting. So the cessation of suffering is to be understood in the context of emptiness. How?
Because it's negating suffering.
Say, for example, I don't have a car. Right? When I was in Singapore, my friends, they were doing a little bit of fundraising for Tibet House car. And during my teaching, my friend stood up and said that anybody who likes to donate for donate for Geshe Dorji's car, you're welcome. I said, it's not Geshe Dorji's car, it's Tibet's car. I have no car. Right? I have no car. So I'm empty of being a car. So is that emptiness? I don't know. It's not emptiness. So that when you are freed from suffering, empty of suffering, is that emptiness? No. So how do you relate that with emptiness? Oh yeah, Alhamdulillah, yes.
Geshe, for ordinary people, impermanent, there's something substance to be undergoing change. And when we say absence of, say, here, when we have
Absence of suffering.
absence of suffering, like here we are negating something, absence of objective existence of the suffering. I mean to say there's no any substance to undergo change, so that's why it's probably.
So whatever you understand, don't add too much. If you add too much, it'll dilute things. You're getting it? So what you started so well, and then you start to add more. So we're talking about how the cessation suffering is permanent. This is my question. You started so well. So the impermanent there should be some substance. Absence also when is substance. Anyway, then you suddenly jump to absence of objective existence.
So I just want to say to this.
What? Say it again.
So I mean, to say impermanent, there should be substance to undergo change.
Mm.
But when we say absence of any
Suffering.
so there's no substance to undergo change. So that
There's no substance to be identified as Surya. This is known as the absence of suffering. There's no substance there. Because there's no substance there, there's no substance to undergo change. It exists, but without change, it's not as they say it is not changing. There's no substance to undergo change. Because of which it's not impermanent. It exists, not impermanent, it should be permanent. Good. Angela?
So cessation, truth of cessation, which is an analytical cessation, which means the absence of suffering. In this case, it's permanent because it's permanent because the absence it's not produced. It's a mere negation.
So how it is not produced?
I think Because when you are asking her about how is mind permanent, the pure mind, it's like enough.
No, don't digress. How is the absence of suffering the not permanent? And how is it the house not produced?
Absence of suffering is not produced because there is no cause to produce.
How do you know that there's no cause? Number four. Number four, the truth of the path leading to cessation is the cause of the absence of suffering.
But the truth of cessation means the cause of suffering is eradicated, which is the afflictions and pathetic karma. And if there's no more cause to produce suffering, then there is no production.
No. Suffering is stopped. That's fine. There's no suffering there. But how the absence of suffering, we're not talking about that the suffering is not produced anymore. Because the cause is stopped, suffering is not produced. But the absence of suffering can be produced. Anyone?
Yes, what I understood is from the first scene, it is all composite phenomena as impermanent. And absence of suffering is not composite. That's very common.
Okay, there's a very good presentation. The follow-up question is how the absence of suffering is not composite.
Because composite phenomena consists of material and temporal particles, as you have mentioned.
So how is it not made of temporal parts? Anyone? Okay, Nicola, or you give the answer or not? Give the answer, not give the answer. You want to give the answer?
Any absence of something is a permanent phenomenon.
How?
As Levin was saying, there is no substance to undergo change.
How do you know that it doesn't have substance? Absence of suffering. How do you say that it doesn't have substance? Okay, the eternal Zala.
Usually you give the example of the clock in your hand, and then you remove the clock and you ask what is there in my hand. So absence of clock is in your hand. So anything which is absent of
Something.
anything, is a permanent phenomenon because it does not have any substance or.
How do you know it doesn't have substance? Why absence should not have substance?
Absence, it would not be absent. If it would have substance, then it would not be absent.
No. So let's say that this flower is absent of chocolate. This flower is absent of chocolate. There's absence there, and there's substance there. This is the flower is the substance, right? So the absence of chocolate, this is it. This one, is it substance? Is the substance chocolate? This is not absence of chocolate. Wow. Please don't leave to something unless you're able to say that yes, this is absence of chocolate, right? People may think that, what did you learn? Who taught you? Right? And you will say that, wow, we learned emptiness, we learned this was amazing, Geshe Dorji Damdul, this is amazing, right? And then people will say, wow, what did you learn? That this is not absence of chocolate, right? This is not absence of chocolate because it is substance. Then you will say, who is that Geshe Dorji Damdul, right? Okay. You said before? You gave the answer before?
This answer, no.
Yeah.
Well, when you apply ultimate analysis to absence of something, the closer you get to it, you still continue to find absence. So it doesn't matter how close you get, but you never.
So this is not a chocolate.
Yeah.
This is absence of chocolate. Is this ultimate analysis or conventional analysis?
This is conventional analysis.
It's a conventional analysis. So why you do have to touch the ultimate analysis?
You go closer to.
No, what I'm saying is that we're talking about the absence of suffering.
Yeah.
Absence of suffering. Is this conventional analysis? Is this the mind which sees this absence of suffering? Is it conventional analysis, ultimate analysis?
Conventional analysis.
If it's conventional analysis, why are you picking up the ultimate analysis?
To find out if it has permanence. Right?
No, it's the absence of
Yeah.
absence of suffering. Per se is permanent.
Yeah.
Per se. So who knows that it is permanent? Conventional analysis knows it, not ultimate analysis. So the question is, how is it permanent? This is the question. Gurmila.
Ishla, I'll try to understand this with my own ordinary understanding, with my own example.
He's scared. Looking for excuses to run away. Yes.
Like, for example, I'm here in this hall, essentially hall.
Yes.
Here at this same position.
Yes.
I can, after the session, I leave for a tea.
Yes.
And then I can come back and sit somewhere else. But this particular coordinates
Yes. Yes.
degree will remain here forever. Whoever comes here, this is the absence of myself, the first moment.
So.
This is imperfect.
So whoever comes, this space remains forever. So what remains forever? This is permanent. Is what you're saying?
No, the absence of myself.
Absence yourself.
The absence of suffering
So-
is permanent.
Okay, that's the absence of yourself. Whoever comes is always there. Is what you're saying?
Like, I'm implying myself.
No, it doesn't matter. Let's apply to yourself. Then how is it permanent?
I move somewhere.
You move. Absence remains.
Absence of myself
Remains.
remains.
So how is it permanent?
So that will remain forever.
Remain forever. If something remains forever, is that the meaning of permanence?
It won't, like, coordinates won't go on the change. Like,
No, this is not the point. If something lasts forever, is this your meaning of permanence?
does the space will
Your mind, is it permanent? Your mind remains forever.
That's why it's a very ordinary.
Young Bella.
There are two minds. One is samsaric mind and one is liberated mind. Samsaric mind has work at defilements, afflictive oscillations and cognitive oscillations.
Yes.
Liberated mind does not have no. Liberated mind is devoid of cognitive and afflictive and cognitive oscillations.
Perfect.
So there is absence of this mind has the absence of affective and cognitive oscillations.
Yes.
And then to connect that to the absence of no such things.
So the absence, how is it that it doesn't, how do you say it doesn't have substance? Don't go to Lajanda. Okay, Ninjala. Okay, here.
I go with Lama and Dr. Mirza that you have to have substance. For example, this rosary, this is in my hand, this is impermanent.
Yeah.
If I move this, there's absence of rosary. There is no substance, and I know that because I can't see it. There is nothing in my hand which can go undergo change. The absence is still there. The absence of rosary and absence is everything in the world is in my hand because I can't see it.
So?
It is permanent. There is nothing which is undergoing moment to moment change. So that's how. And I can see it with my eyes.
Okay, what Tinsbila said is what resonates with what the Lajana said, Ronizela said, and Young Bella said, and others. That is actually a very good answer. Very good answer. In other words, what we said is that, let's say, common people and you now, you and the common people who are not exposed to philosophy, they give two different answers, two opposite answers. Let's say that I keep the clock in my hand. What is there? Something is there. Then I remove it. I ask the people who are not exposed to philosophy at all, what is there? They will say nothing. Nothing is there. If I ask you, you will say that absence of clock is there. You're getting it? Something is there. So you say something is there, and the people who street people, they will say nothing is there. So these two are just opposite answers. And we see that experiences speaking both are correct. How both are correct is that both of them, when they say nothing is there, when you say something is there, what they're referring to is different. For them, when nothing is there means that there's nothing as a substance is there. So this is the meaning of substance. So anything which exists, you say, absence of clock is there. So this is without substance, because that is disqualified to be existent by the common people. What is disqualified to be existent in common people is the indication that they do not have substance. So the absence of clock does not have substance. Because it doesn't have substance, what is change? Change is where there's a substance there. This substance is changing from one moment to the second to the third. When there's no substance there, there's no substance to undergo change. If there's no change, it is not impermanent. It exists, but not impermanent. It should be permanent. So permanent may not necessarily be something which lasts forever. You're getting it? It can be as permanent phenomenon, can be as short as a split of a second. Sound of a clap. The sound of a clap, is it permanent, impermanent? Hey, louder, don't be scared. Impermanent. It's impermanent. This sound of a clap is impermanent. But this sound of a clap, how long is the duration? Split of a second. And this sound of a clap, it has innumerable characteristics. This sound of a clap is, okay, let's say characterized. This sound of a clap is impermanent. Impermanence is a characteristic. This sound of clap is existent. Existence of thing. This sound is a result of the two hands coming together. There are so many characteristics. One of which is this sound is absent of chocolate. Absent of being a chocolate. This is also one of the characteristics. So this sound has so many characteristics. And what is the duration of these characteristics? The duration of these characteristics are same as the duration of the sound. Just the sound lasts for a split second. Everything which are the characteristics of this sound lasts that long. So, including the sound being absent of a chocolate, even that it lasts for a split of a second. And yet it does not have substance. So therefore, although the sound being absent of a chocolate, it lasts for just millisecond. It just lasts for a millisecond, split of a second, yet it is permanent. So permanent may not necessarily last forever. You're getting it? So when we say, oh, this tree is permanent, this Mount Everest is permanent, which means this is the permanence, understanding of permanence according to ordinary people. For ordinary people, permanent means something which lasts for long. Whereas for the experts, for the logicians, for the knowledgeable people, permanent means something which does not undergo change, which exists without the substance to undergo change. That is permanent. Okay, good. Good, I'm glad. So the most important thing is not just unilateral teaching. It's the interactive session that your mind is also active. So then the real growth is taking place. Otherwise, we can finish this, the 3 chapters very easily, and you not getting anything out of what is being shared. Okay, so now going back to the text, page number 119. Examination of the Four Noble Truths. So what it says, examination of the Four Noble Truths, is it talking about the Four Noble Truths or is it talking about something else? It's talking about whether or not the Four Noble Truths exist objectively, or in other words, we are talking about the emptiness, how the Four Noble Truths are empty of objective existence. So this is what we are talking. We are not talking about the Four Noble Truths in general. The opponents, what they say is that if all of this is empty meaning empty of objective existence, for them, empty of objective existence equals? For them, emptiness of objective existence equals? Non-existent. Very good, non-existent. So they are saying that you are saying that everything is empty of objective existence. You are saying nothing exists. Everything non-exists. Non-existent. If you say this, then you have to say that ceasing and arising also do not exist. Neither what's arising nor ceasing exists. Then for you, it follows that the Four Noble Truths would not exist. How not? Because Four Noble Truths is within the domain of cause and effect. Within the domain of cause and how? First truth is result, and second truth is cause and effect. Third truth is result, and fourth truth is cause and effect. You're getting it? Even the Four Noble Truths should be understood in the context of the cause and effect. But what I said is that there's one technicality that we need to learn. It's not difficult. One technicality that we need to learn. What I said is that the third truth is the result, and the fourth truth is the cause. The cessation of suffering happens by deep and meditate on the path of cessation. So the truth cessation, because this is permanent, we said that it's permanent. Because it's permanent, it is not a result. Cause, result, impermanent, produced, they're all synonymous. Cause, effect, or result, produced, functional phenomena, impermanent phenomena, they all are synonymous. Let me repeat it. Cause and effect are synonymous. Cause and effect is synonymous. What is cause should be effect? What is effect should be also cause. But your cause is not an effect. You're getting it? Cause and effect are contradictory with respect to one particular frame of reference. With respect to 2023, to the cause of 2023 and the effect of 2023, these two are not synonymous, these two are contradictory. But cause and effect in general, these two are synonymous. For example, so this flower, is it a cause? Yes. Tomorrow, this flower will become 1 day older. So 1 day older flower tomorrow, that's a result of this cause, this flower. So this flower is a cause with respect to the flower of tomorrow. Is this a result? Yes, it's a result with respect to the flower yesterday. You're getting it? This cause and effect both. But the cause and effect with respect to this object, the cause of this and the effect of this, these two are contradictory. So these distinctions we have to learn. Cause and effect in general, these two are synonymous. But the cause and effect with respect to one object, these two are always contradictory. You're getting it? Okay, this is what we need to keep in mind. So then for you, it follows that the Four Noble Truths would not exist. And then what we said is that truth of cessation is not effect because it is not impermanent phenomenon. Impermanent phenomenon and the impermanent phenomena, cause and effect, cause, effect, impermanent phenomena, the composite phenomena, produced phenomena, functional phenomena, they're all synonymous. So because if it is not impermanent, it cannot be cause and effect. So the third noble truth is not effect. But we said that third noble truth is the effect of the fourth noble truth. So that is in a loose sense. You're getting it? In a loose sense, is not really in a strict sense. In other words, that how many of you have suffering raise hands? How many of you have suffering raise hands? Okay, how many of you have no suffering raise hands? You all have suffering. Oh, you have no suffering. You don't know. So not knowing is also suffering. Okay, so let's say that we all have suffering. And by meditating on emptiness, the cause of suffering stops, self-grasping stops. Because of which the iceberg melts. Iceberg on which the suffering is stacked, iceberg melts. When the iceberg melts, all what is stacked will all crumble. Your suffering crumbles. Your suffering stops. So, how come that all others they continue to suffer and you are not suffering? How come? Because meaning I put an effort. I put effort in the wisdom of emptiness. So wisdom of emptiness is a cause which gave me to stop the suffering. You're getting it? So stopping the suffering is because the reason. So here instead of the cause, the reason why the suffering came to an end is because of having exerted the antidote. You're getting it? So it's not the cause and effect in technical sense, but it's cause and effect in the form of reasons and the outcome. So the truth cessation is the outcome, not the effect, it's the outcome of the what? Of the effort that you put in the path leading to the cessation, the fourth truth. You're getting it? So these are the technical. In a loose sense, we can say that the truth of suffering is the result, truth of cause suffering is the cause, then truth of cessation is the result, truth of path leading to cessation is the cause. In a loose sense, we can say like this. But if you meet with a real, very defined scholar and the Dhamma practitioner teachers, then you should know these nuances. Which is good.
Kishla, did you differentiate that between reasons and outcomes?
No. Reasons and the cause. So in a loose sense, the seed is the reason for the flower. Poisonous seed is the reason for the poisonous tree. And poisonous seed is the cause of the poisonous tree. In a loose sense, we see these two things as same. The reason, being the reason, and the cause as same. But logically speaking, in a strict logic, there's a little difference between the two. Being the reason and being the cause. There's a little difference there. Cause means precisely to do with the impermanent phenomena. For reasons, it may not necessarily be impermanent. Okay. Verse number 2. If the Four Noble Truths do not exist, then knowledge, abandonment, meditation, and actualization would not be feasible. Okay, we left it this way, the second part in the first session. Okay. So the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths in the form of 12 recitations. What are the 12 recitations? This is what we're going to learn here very quickly. This is very important. Four Noble Truths taught by the Buddha in the form of 12 recitations. And these 12 repetitions or recitations, both are correct. 12 recitations or 12 repetitions. Depa chungi. Depa. These 12 repetitions can be broken down into 3 sets. Four Noble Truths taught in 12 recitations. And these 12 recitations broken down into 3 sets. The first set is related to identification of the Four Noble Truths. The first set is related to identification of Four Noble Truths. Second set is related to the practice associated with the Four Noble Truths. Second set of the teaching on the Four Noble Truths is related to the practice related to the Four Noble Truths. Third set related to the results that you achieve, the results that you attain by the practice of the practice related to the Four Noble Truths. First one is identification, second one is the practice, third one is the results of the practice. You're getting it? 3 sets. So what are the 3 sets? First set, the Buddha taught. First set is very easy. Easy meaning, in terms of repeating what the Buddha said, is very easy. Second set requires more thought. First set, the Buddha taught, this is the truth of suffering. This is the truth of cause of suffering. This is the truth of the cessation of suffering. And this is the truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. In other words, Buddha was helping us to identify what these 4 truths are. So this is the first set. On the first set of teaching on the Four Noble Truths pertain to the identification of Four Noble Truths. Second set is what? Related to? Practices. So, for the second set, the Buddha taught, truth of suffering is to be identified. Truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned. Truth of cessation of suffering is to be actualized. And the truth of the path leading to cessation is to be meditated upon. It looks so easy for us, very easy. I can remember it very easily. But if you don't note it down, if you are not being too precisely, meticulously remembering these points, later on they'll all get mixed up, and you may say that, oh, the truth of suffering is to be abandoned, truth of cause of suffering is to be identified. You mix up these things. So don't underestimate. You're getting it? In other words, we should not think that we are smart. You're getting? We should not think that we are. We should not think that we are too smart. I know this, so it is very easy, right? So, whereas those people who are so meticulous, over time, their knowledge will be accumulated, and then they will really shine. Those people who think that this is very easy, yeah, to suffering, I remember, identified, to the cause of suffering, abandoned, to the cessation of suffering, actualized, to the meditation, the path, meditated upon, and later on you will get mixed up. At the moment, because I said it, it's very easy, it's not difficult. You're getting it? So this is where people who underestimate things, who take things very lightly, they never grow. People who take things very seriously and who are very meticulous with the order and so forth, these people will grow and shine eventually. Their knowledge will really grow. For example, I'm so impressed one time in one center, when I was teaching for about 5 days, I think on the second or third day, I asked one question, and there was one gentleman who was with the center for like 20 years. But he never learned these things very systematically. And then I asked a question, and he raised his hand. And of course, being a very senior member, I give the chance to him, and he gives the answer. And then I asked the same question again. Anybody else? One girl raised her hand. And the answer that she gave is so precise, very systematic, and anybody can see that, wow, this is amazing. And I thought that this girl who gave the answer must be, with the center for so long. And then during my private meeting, the girl said that, I've been coming for the center just for the last few months. But your answer is so good. How come? And she said it was the time we started the Nalanda Master's course. She said, I'm doing Nalanda Master's course. So where they learn systematically. But this gentleman, he just, is like just, like the animals, they grazing the grass, eat something here, eat something here, eat something here. There's no synchronity here. And then later on, I told the gentleman, did you see the difference between the answer that you gave and the answer the girl gave? And he said, yes. And I said, what's the difference? He said that what the girl gave, the answer is so systematic and very clear, and mine one is like the other people may not really understand what I'm saying. This is what he said. This is because you never went for systematic studies. You've been in Dharma for 20 years. This is the problem. When you go for systematic studies, 2, 3, 4 years is good enough. Then your knowledge will become so refined. And 6 years, very good. For example, those who did not the master's course, batch 1, some of them, they're really, really, really good. And some of the Geshes, when they meet with some of the Geshes, and Geshe would be so amazed that these topics, some of these topics, even we don't really, this much of analysis, we find it very difficult. So this is where we need to have the systematic studies. Okay, the next, number 2. Okay, no, we are not yet complete. So we're talking about the 12 recitations. First set is done, second set. Second set, when the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha taught, this is the truth of suffering is to be the truth of suffering is to be identified. Truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned. Okay, so once you identify the Four Noble Truths, then the students will ask the Buddha, now what should I do with the Four Noble Truths? The Buddha said, the first truth you have to identify so well. What's the problem going within you? You have to identify that. Your suffering, you should identify that. Your illness should be identified. Once you identify that, then check the cause and abandon the cause. So truth of the cause of suffering is to be abandoned. Okay, so with the second truth, my job is to abandon it. So what about the third? The truth of the cessation of suffering is to be actualized. What you want is you want the freedom from suffering. You have to remove all, you have to eradicate You have to eradicate all these, the cause of suffering, and then you have to actualize your freedom. Actualize your freedom. Experience this freedom. The truth of cessation suffering is to be actualized. Okay, but how to actualize? Meditate on the path leading to cessation. Truth of the cessation suffering is to be meditated. No, truth of the path leading to cessation suffering is to be meditated upon. So this is related to the teaching of the Four Noble Truths pertaining to the practice. Number 3. What is number 3? Related to the results. Okay. Here the Buddha taught, although the truth of suffering is to be identified, there's nothing to be identified. Although the truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned, there's nothing to be abandoned. Although the truth of the cessation suffering is to be actualized, there's nothing to be actualized. Although the truth of the path leading to cessation suffering is to be meditated upon, there's nothing to be meditated upon. Okay, this is the teaching of Four Noble Truths pertaining to the results that we accrue by the practice of Four Noble Truths. Okay, what do you mean? Particularly the third set. What did the Buddha mean when the Buddha taught that although the truth of suffering is to be identified, there's nothing to be identified? Okay, for this set of teachings should be understood on 2 levels, on the conventional level and on the ultimate level. First, on the conventional level. On the conventional level, when the Buddha taught, although the truth of suffering is to be abandoned, the truth of suffering is to be identified, there's nothing to be identified. Okay, so let's say that you follow the path. Gade, para samgade, bodhi, swaha. You follow the path. Gade. So the first gade, say following the Buddhas of the path, let's say, whenever you generate bodhicitta, whenever you generate a spontaneous, very natural bodhicitta, you plunge into the first path, first gade. If you don't generate bodhicitta, no matter what you do, you are not in the path. So therefore, if you really want to follow the path, to say that, to be qualified as you are at least in the first path of accumulation, you have to generate bodhicitta, genuine bodhicitta for following the Buddhas of the path. So, first is gade, path of accumulation. Second, gade, path of preparation. Third, paragate, path of seeing. Parasangate, path of meditation. Bodhi swaha, path of normal learning. So these 5 paths, the first four are known as the path of learning. The paths of learning. And the 5th one is known as path of normal learning. When you reach the 5th path, then you have already accomplished what you want to accomplish. So you don't have to learn any more now. For example, like you complete your, you complete your PhD or postdoc. Now for you, so what you have to learn the way the school children, they do, you don't do it anymore. Normal learning, because you have reached the ultimate. Okay, so first path is known as path of learning, and the 3rd, 4th, 5th one is known as path of normal learning. So, when the Buddha taught, although the truth of suffering is to be identified, there's nothing to be identified. In the context of the conventional understanding, said that although the truth of suffering is to be identified during the first 4 paths, learning stage, you have to keep identifying what the sufferings are. Deeper. When you reach the 5th path, there's nothing to be identified. You've identified everything. You're getting it? This is meaning. Okay, next, what is next? Although the truth of the cause of suffering is to be Abandoned, there's nothing to be abandoned. Anybody who likes to explain this for us now? From what you've learned from the first, anyone raise hands? Anyone who likes to share with us? Raise hands. Okay, here, Pinzola.
Although the truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned, there is nothing to be abandoned, meaning part of accumulation and preparation, seeing
And meditation.
level. When you reach part of normal learning, there is nothing to be abandoned.
Okay, how many agree with Dr. Pinzola? Raise hands. Very good. Although the truth of the cause of suffering is to be abandoned, meaning that you have to abandon these when you are in the first 4 paths, learning paths. You have to put effort to abandon these. Once you reach the 5th, you have abandoned everything. So that there's nothing left for you to abandon. Although the truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned, there's nothing to be abandoned. First one is related to the 4 learning, the paths of the learning, and the second one is related to the path of normal learning. Good. Well, number 3, anyone? What is number 3? Related to the actualizing the truth of cessation of suffering. Okay, tell me, Sajunullah.
Although the truth of cessation is to be actualized, but there's nothing to be actualized. In the first sense, truth of cessation is to be actualized. It is in the context of path meditation, preparation, path meditation, but when there's nothing to be actualized in the context of path normal learning.
Why there's nothing to be actualized at the path of normal learning? Because you have actualized everything. Good. Okay. Last one. The truth of the path leading to the cessation. Anyone? Raise hands. Nyingjala.
The path of cessation needs to be meditated upon. Even though the path of the truth of cessation should be meditated upon, there is nothing to be meditated upon. Because the path of normal learning, there is nothing to be meditated upon.
Why not?
Because the one who has realized.
You have meditated everything now, so there's nothing left for you to meditate. Whereas, what about the first part? First, we said that although the truth of the path leading to cessation is to be meditated upon. So, what is that part? How do you explain this?
That comes in like the first 4 parts.
Okay, so that is to be the part of the truth of the path leading to cessation is to be meditated upon during the first 4 paths, during the learning paths. And then there's nothing to be meditated upon when you reach the 5th one, because at that point you've already meditated upon whatever is to be meditated upon. You already done it. Success, you succeeded. Nothing left to be meditated upon. Very good. Okay. So this is very important. It's a little digression, but this is very important for us. So with this, having said this, let's turn to number 2, verse number 2. If the 4 noble truths do not exist, okay, then knowledge, abandonment, meditation, and actualization would not be feasible. Okay, knowledge of what? Of the 4 noble truths. Knowledge to be identified. What? To identify what? Truth of the suffering. The first one. Then the knowledge, the abandonment of what? To the cause of suffering. Now look, you can easily relate this. So the knowledge is not just, in the vague idea. Knowledge of the truth of suffering and abandonment of to the cause of suffering and meditation of path leading to cessation of suffering and actualization of the cessation. You're getting it? So here, it's not necessarily everything must be everything properly in order. So here, order is little altered. It doesn't matter. So meditation means that the path leading to cessation, and actualization is the cessation. You're getting it? So these 4 things which the Buddha taught related to the practice of the 4 noble truths would not be feasible. You cannot posit this. Okay. If these things do not exist, if you don't identify the cause of suffering, if you don't abandon the cause, if you don't identify the suffering, if you don't abandon the cause of suffering, if you don't actualize the cessation of suffering, if you don't meditate on the path of cessation, If these things do not exist, the four fruits as well will not arise. Without four fruits, there will be no abiders. Okay, there will be no abiders. What is that? Abiders in the fruits? Nor will there be the enterers. So, four fruits. What are the four fruits? Stream enterer, fruit of there are four fruits there. Fruit of stream enterer, fruit of one's returner, fruit of no more returner, fruit of aratship. Let me repeat it. Four fruits. Fruit of stream enterer, fruit of one's returner, fruit of no more returner, fruit of aratship. Number one, fruit of stream enterer. Second, fruit of one's returner, Number three, fruit of no more returner. Number four, fruit of arahatship. Four fruits. Okay, let me quickly explain this four. Okay, let me quickly explain this four. These are very important concepts, very important. And in a way, the beginners, you are very fortunate that you are, with others who are very seniors. They learned about all these things many years, and now what they learned, you are getting within just one short retreat. You're very fortunate. Okay. Say, when you are to attain liberation, freedom from suffering, to stop all the tears of samsara, to stop all the miseries, to stop all the suffering, stopping all the suffering is known as nirvana. And the person is known as arhat. The state of freedom from all suffering is known as nirvana. And the person who attained this is known as arhat. A-R-H-A-T, arhat. In Pali, arhant. In Pali, arhant. In Sanskrit, arhat. Okay. Now, to reach to that level, there is one fruit, arhatship, the fruit of arhatship. This is the ultimate goal, ultimate fruit that you're seeking. There's one fruit. So before that, there are three fruits. Right? There are three fruits. And we're going to explain each one of these fruits. Let's say that you want to go to Bay of Bengal. You know where Bay of Bengal is? Bay of Bengal. And the Ganga, River Ganga. The River Ganga starts from Gangotri. River Ganga starts from Gangotri. And if you don't know where Bay of Bengal is, and you want to go to Bay of Bengal, you don't know how to go. You want to go there. The best thing is jump into the stream. Jump into the Ganga stream. Jump. You enter the stream. The first. Jump in the stream. Stream enterer. Once you jump in the stream will take you to Haridwar. Right? The stream will take you to Haridwar. This one's returner. Then from Haridwar it will take you to Varanasi. No more returner. From the Varanasi, it will throw you into Bengal, Arhat. That's the ultimate goal. You're getting it? So, number one is stream entry. Jump into the stream. Stream end. You enter the stream. Once you go there, then you reach the Haridwar, which is like one's returner. From there, you will get the Varanasi. No more returner. From there, you will invariably get into the Bengal, Arhatship. Four fruits. What they actually mean is when you see emptiness, entering the stream is to see emptiness directly. So you first remove the mental defilements. You start to remove the defilements from the root. That is when you see emptiness directly. The moment you see emptiness directly, it is like plunging into the river. That is the stream enterer. What is next? One's returner. One's returner means, okay, now you are in the desire realm. Samsara is divided into three groups. Desire realm, form realm, and formless realm. Three realms are there. Those who are new, you must learn this. You must learn this. Desire realm, form realm, formless realm. So those beings who are more infatuated, with sensual desires, they're born in desire realm. Then those beings who are more, not really outside sensual objects, but more into the inside meditation, they will be born in form and formless realms. So they're more into meditation state. Form and formless realm. Form realm and formless realm. Desire realm is marked by your mind, instead of being diverted inside, is diverted outside. But don't think about all the bodhisattvas who take birth in the desire realm. So it's not for all. For the common people, it is like this. When you are born in desire realm, which means your mind is more is driven towards external sensual objects. For the form and formless, sensual objects is so gross. Then you go more into samadhi, internal. So within internal, there are two levels. Form realm and formless realm. So these are the three places where somebody takes birth in samsara. These are only three places. So from this, when you go into the meditation wisdom of emptiness, then what is number two? One's returner, which means that you are in the desire realm at the moment, you meditate, and then before you attain nirvana, you have to come back to desire realm once more. You have to come back to desire realm once more, and then you attain nirvana. Okay, come back to desire realm once more. Then from there, either you attain nirvana in desire realm, or you take birth in the form and formless and attain nirvana there. But how many times you have to come back to nirvana, to desire realm before nirvana? Only once. So this is known as one's returner. And some of them, their meditation is more refined, that their meditation is so refined that they don't have to come back to desire realm anymore. You are already in desire realm. When you die, before you attain nirvana, you don't have to come back to desire realm. You can take birth in formless realm, and then attain nirvana there. So once you die, you will not come back to desire realm. This is known as no more returner. You will not return to desire, no more returner. What is next? Arhatship. Arhatship meaning somebody who has destroyed your enemy. What is the enemy? Afflictive obscurations. Somebody who has destroyed the enemy. Arhat in Tibetan is dachum. Da is the enemy. Chum is conquer. Conquer the enemy. Enemy of the afflictions. You destroy the afflictive obscurations, and this is where you get the total freedom. Okay, these are the four fruits. We'll stop here. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata